everybody, it's Elizabeth from Elvis Astrology at elvisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to do my interpretation of July 2022 astrology. And as always, I would enjoy doing your chart, should you like that to be done. Subscribe to me on Instagram as well as my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to start off here with the first moon or lunation of the month that we have. And that's going to be on the 13th of July, 2022. It's a full moon in Capricorn. It will be at 21 Capricorn 21 at 11:38 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So the full moon, we have the moon in one sign, and in this case it's Capricorn, and then the sun's in the opposite sign, and in this case, of course, it's going to be Cancer. The sun will conjunct Mercury in Cancer. The moon will widely conjunct Pluto, also in Capricorn, the very last degrees. And Venus, which is now in Gemini, will be squaring off Neptune in Pisces. So we've got a combination of effects here, but certainly if you do have something around the 21 degree mark of Capricorn, of course I'm speaking specifically maybe of Capricorn suns or Capricorn ascendants, this is a wrap up for you. And because we've got the moon, within proximity of Pluto, there's going to be an element of transformation that will go with this ending that will be important for you. If you have something around this degree point, 21 degrees of Capricorn or 21 degrees of Cancer, the opposite sign. But certainly we've got some kind of message being given out here with regards to the homeland, because it's Cancer we're talking about, the sun in Cancer, the homeland, something to do with maybe nurturing or mothers could be to the fore. And because we've got Venus here in Gemini squaring off Neptune, this says there's an integration that has to happen here at this full moon where we let go of some perhaps very old ways, maybe even archaic ways of doing things. And we need to incorporate more compassion. Certainly that's Neptune. Perhaps compassion for different ways that people communicate. So I really saw this whole month of July as a time when a lot more things are going to be coming forward with regards to changes in our culture, things that we have to change individually, but also as a culture and a society. Things are going to be spoken about a lot more, new programs being set in place, that sort of thing. So this full moon to me says we're going to be letting go of all these things that are archaic, like I mentioned, that are kind of holding us back almost. We've almost got Pluto out of Capricorn into new wave, new beginnings, new thinking, Aquarius next year, right? So I view in many ways this is a tie-up of that finality of letting go of structures, ways of thinking, archaic things, old structures that, aren't working properly. They're just plodding along. And this, like I said, is probably going to come with maybe changes, and perhaps in the USA in particular, announced changes to the way we're doing things with certain structures, right? But it will be transformational. There's no question about that, with that wide conjunction with Pluto. Could be also changes with our money, announcements made with regards to that. Venus represents money, and of course Gemini represents communication, facts, that sort of thing. Now with that square to Neptune, this could also be that there's some facts obscured at this time. So that's another thing that I guess we have to watch out for too. I mean, that goes as good advice at any time, don't believe everything you hear. But this is one setup with the Venus square Neptune that perhaps that is the case. And maybe individually, some of us may experience this. All right, so if we go to the 22nd of July, we have Mercury is now at 5 degrees of Leo. And this, of course, is where the new moon in Leo is going to be on the 28th of July, and I'll cover that in a minute. We do have the sun at this time at that anaretic degree of 29 degrees of Cancer. So I think that this is going to be a day, or maybe a couple days, of some kind of big flourishing announcement of some sort. And it could come through royalty, and it could come through our Hollywood royalty as well. But it kind of is a foreshadowing a little bit of what's going to be happening at the new moon, a few days later on the 28th. So watch what comes up around the 22nd of July with regards to grandiose announcements or messages being given out that seem very sort of unusual, I guess is the best way to say it. But the other thing too, of course, is that this announcement, because we've still got this final degree of the sun in Cancer, we could see something where there's going to be an announcement about a program for social welfare, right? That could also be the case here. But if we look at this from a negative standpoint, or not so positive, we could have somebody like a celebrity or royalty sort of spouting off a lot of hot air. So it'll be interesting to see there will be something that will bring drama and attention to some kind of announcement or message around this time. And it's going to be predicated by this new moon a few days later, where something different will be presented, but there's a tie-in. All right, so let's get to that. So we've got this new moon in Leo, which every time I look at this new moon, I get excited about it. So happy birthday to all Leos and Leo risings, right? This is your new moon of the year. It is on the 28th of July at 5 Leo 39 minutes at 11:56 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So this really is the turning point of the summer in many ways, where we have parties, celebrations, romances, and just having fun. And this new moon just embraces all that type of thinking. There are a few things that, we may have to work out, but generally speaking, I saw this as a really positive new moon that a lot of people will be having fun and enjoying themselves. So plan for something around the 28th of July. And certainly if you've got your birthday on the 28th of July, this could set up a whole new beginning for you for the whole year, your whole birthday year, right? So at this time, we're going to have Mercury in Leo, and it will be squaring Uranus at 18 degrees. And also the north nodes are very, very close at this time too to Uranus. So we really have a Mercury square, not only Uranus at 18 degrees, but the north nodes. They're at 19, but that's awfully close, right? So I would say that this new moon in Leo, from a mundane standpoint, is going to have some kind of significance with regard to our destiny path. And it may come about a way that's unexpected, because that whole Uranus is unexpected surprise, right? And again, we've got Mercury attached here. And so I would say that not only is this influencing the new moon in Leo here at the end of July, but the other thing is that this could also be a foreshadowing of culminating effects of that total full moon eclipse that we're going to have in Taurus in November this year, because it's going to be at 18 degrees, right? So we've got this 18 degree mark that's being activated here. So there's going to be some challenge and maybe even difficulties that we have to overcome with regards to some kind of integration with regards to, our destiny path that will come into full effect at that total eclipse that's going to be in November. So there is a tie in here. So do watch what goes on. And if you've got anything at 18 degrees of Leo or 18 degrees of Taurus, you will be affected by this. in some way. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing, right? Squares, I always say, ask us to think outside the box. And if you think about Leo, Leo is a very creative sign, right? So Leo, what does it pertain to? Leo pertains to romance, especially true love. It pertains to children. It's our artistic selves. It's at its core asking us to express our authentic self. So it's being authentic, right? That's going to be big things that come up at this time in relation to new love, true love, children. It's also your own business and games of chance. So all these areas could come up depending where this falls in your own chart, right? But like I said, from a mundane standpoint, this is a turning point for us in terms of our destiny path. The other thing that happens at this new moon is we have Mars will widely be trining Chiron in Aries. And this is a positive thing. Trines are always favorable energy. It's just that they can go by. They're so favorable that they can go by without us really noticing it. So to me, this is positive action with regards to our health. And again, depending where this falls in your chart will depend what it actually plays out to be. But overall, this is a positive thing with regards to our health. And in particular, of course, we're talking about our health from a global standpoint with all the various types of viruses that we've had going around, right? I thought it was interesting. I looked at, the birthdays that were happening around the 28th of July, and Lori Loughlin turned up on my feed with regards to her having her birthday at this time. She also has her moon in Pisces, and it's conjuncting Neptune at this time. So there may be something obscured for her at this time emotionally, but it could also represent a new start for her with regards to many things that she's been through, much of which she generated herself. But this could be a new beginning for her at this time, especially with regards to her image. All right, so the other thing that we have happening at the same new moon, so this is a huge sort of new moon change up type of thing that's going to be happening around the end of July. We also have Jupiter going retrograde at 8 degrees of Aries. Now, Jupiter will go back to 29 degrees of Pisces right up to the end of December 2022. And then it will go back into full swing into Aries. But it'll meet this 8 degree of Aries point in mid-February of 2023. So if you've got something around 8 degrees of Aries, whatever occurs around this new moon will be a significator to be visited again mid-February. So check to see what house this is in, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because it's almost like you'll have a second chance or a second go mid-February if you've got 8 degrees highlighted in Aries somewhere in your chart. You can leave me comments and we can sort of discuss this back and forth as per usual. All right, so enjoy this new moon in Leo. I just want to leave you with the thought of have some parties, have some celebrations, dive into a romance, and just have some fun during this summer. We've all had a lot of stress going on over the past few years. All right, so we're going to wrap up the 31st of July where we have Mars is going to be conjuncting Uranus in Taurus still at 18 degrees. So July ends with a bang. I guess you could say it begins with a bang if you celebrate Canada Day as well as Independence Day in the USA. And then we end on the 31st with Planet of Action conjuncting Planet of Surprise and Unexpected Events. So all I got to say is July will end with some big surprise of some sort. And I mean, this could play out various ways. It literally can play out by fireworks going off, either metaphorically or literally. It can also have, because it's in an earth sign of Taurus, it could have some kind of earthquake or volcano type thing or eruption of some sort to do with the earth happen at this time. That could happen too. But it could also represent some unexpected sudden movement and aggression, right? Because Mars can be aggressive as well, right? And Mars is associated with military things, that type of stuff. So it could be something else happens again in that area. And like I said, this is that same degree point, 18 degrees of Taurus, that total eclipse in November 2022 will happen. So all this stuff that's happening in July with regards to that 18 degree point is going to be significant as it gets tied up in November at a full moon total eclipse, right? Yeah. So pay attention to what's going on in your own personal life, but also in the world events as well. I did want to just cover the Sabian symbol. I do this once in a while with regards to that new moon in Leo, because I thought it was important for me to add a little bit of an extra message. So it was interesting because what we always, round up the degree, and of course it rounds up to 6 degrees of Leo. And the message that goes with this or saying is a conservative, old-fashioned lady is confronted by a hippie girl. Of course, this was written, I guess, back in the 60s and 70s. But it really speaks to the traditional meeting up with the unconventional. And, by association, we're now talking about cultural values, right? So it's one generation to the next value different things and what they view as, say, decent. And so this really, I think, ties in perfectly with this new moon, where, we're all going to be going around strutting our stuff. But we also have to take into consideration everyone that has their own stuff and their own value system, right? What do you love? That's going to be coming up. That's what I got with this too. It also says to me that we sometimes need to embrace the new, right? Even though it's unusual, it's not what we've been brought up with. Just because we've been brought up with something doesn't mean it can't change. So this refers to change in our society and our cultural values. All right, next I'm going to do each of the individual signs and ascendants, and just give you a little bit of what I think is going to be coming up for you at the full moon and the new moon in July 2022. But remember, as always, we all have free will to do what we feel is appropriate for us at this time in our life. And as always, I love to do your chart and love to hear from you, your comments, and we can chat back and forth. For Aquarius, this full moon in Capricorn on the 13th of July falls in your 12th house. Well, the 12th house is a hidden house. It's the house of secrets. It's the house of hidden enemies traditionally. It can represent hospitals, prisons, ashrams, government offices, anything that's kind of behind the scenes, also universities. It's a lot of, when I look at the 12th house, it's where we can do a bit of a cleanup, right? Because the 12th house, of course, is the last house in the whole wheel before we start on the first house, right? So it's kind of a cleaning up. And so I see this for you is because it's a full moon too, it's you just looking at that stuff that you've been hiding or pushing underneath the rug, whether it's literal stuff, right, and it can be, or it's more stuff that you've ignored that's part of you, maybe inside yourself, that you need to do a bit of cleaning up here. Now it's Capricorn, so it could have anything to do with maybe traditional ways of doing things. You decide you don't want to do them. But it can also be a time where you tie up things with regards to, this could also be burdens that you've taken on, that you shine a light on them and you say, I need to let go of this burden. And it could be a burden for some Aquarius that you've been hanging on to maybe all your life, where this full moon puts a big illumination on it and says, just let that go. And you make a decision to do that. I mean, the 12th house can be magic and miracles too, but it really is a house where I like to say, clean up what needs to be cleaned up, let go of things that need to be let go of, and look forward to this moving forward. So this full moon will only stay in your 12th house for a short while, and that full moon will go on into your first house, right? So it's a good time of letting go of things that you need to let go of, especially burdens that you've been holding on to. And maybe, again, staid ways of doing things that don't really work anymore. I would say, though, that if you do have anything that comes up with regards to any institution or supervisor or somebody in a position above you, that you take care of business. This is not the 12th house. You don't want to be messing around with stuff and ignoring stuff. So if you do have, say, something come up, someone approach you saying, you need to handle this, you need to take care of it and wrap it up, do make the effort, Aquarius, to get things wrapped up for whatever request is being made of you. Okay. Now, the new moon in Leo is going to be in your 7th house, and that forms an opposition with your sign, right? So Aquarius is opposite of Leo. So this is going to feature your partner, or whether it's a partner in business or a partner in marriage. It could also be your clients as well. It's a new start. Leo is associated with love. Just on the surface, for some Aquarius, this could be a whole new start to a new love in your life. For some Aquarius, it might be them getting married at this time. And I would say this is very positive to have a new moon in Leo, which represents true love, in your 7th house of marriage. So congratulations to those Aquarius that are getting married in either July or August. But it can also have a new creative partnership materialize for you, and that you decide to go ahead with. And it embraces maybe your authentic self more, as well as the individuals are able to be all maybe artistically authentic, and you get together to form a partnership. That can occur here too, Aquarius. But it can just be, say, for those folks that are already in a committed relationship or already in a business partnership, it could just have a new beginning here. Now, the new beginning in these partnerships could have to do with taking risks. So maybe in a business partnerships, you guys decide to take a risk of some sort. And it could be a creative risk as well, right? But it could also be that your partner starts being maybe more creative, or approaches you with some risk that they want to take. And you have to consider that, right? It's an opposition. So it's this banter sort of back and forth. But I see this as a positive new moon for you, Aquarius, a new start with regards to partnerships. Enjoy and have fun. All right, so that wraps things up from my standpoint for July 2022. I've kept it kind of brief with regards to my introduction. I'm sure there's other things going on that my viewers will remind me of. Take care of yourself. I want to leave you with this. So I'm making this video in sort of mid-June 2022. I really want everybody to consider enjoying themselves and having fun this summer. Being open to love, being open to truly loving those around you, and have lots of fun with those children in your life, the big children as well as the small children this summer. I see a lot of smiling and a lot of laughing this summer. Make sure you're one of them. Take care, everybody, and we will see you next time for my August video. Bye for now.